Hey everybody, Akash Inti here with a quick little follow-up to yesterday's video. So, yesterday we were talking about the levels of listening and really just diving deep into them. So, as you may recall, we have 5 levels of listening. The first one being ignoring, the lowest level, the base level. The second one being pretending. Number 3, selective listening. Number 4, attentive listening. Number 5, empathic listening. So again, remembering that the big overarching concept here is that as you increase your attention level to something or to someone, your level of listening increases as well. I wanted to add in a couple small little key points that I neglected to mention at the end of the video yesterday, but I thought might be interesting to you guys today as a little follow on, an addendum. It's very important to use your listening skills if you want to influence someone. In other words, how could you ever influence someone if you've never heard what they had to say? Let's say someone comes up to you and let's say I'll create a scenario here where you are a car dealer and you're a car dealer salesman. You have a customer who walks in and they have a few reasons as to why they want to buy a car. Before you can sell them a car, you need to listen to them. You can't just be like, hey, Mr. Customer, here, I've got a car for you. Let's go buy it. That's never, ever, ever, ever going to happen. Why? There's plenty of reasons why, but you need to have some type of relationship with someone in order to be comfortable enough to transact in any way, shape, or form. So I want to bring it back the concept, the higher level concept of it's just very important to recognize that you need to listen to someone before you can ever influence them. This could be in the same context of relationships, whether they be personal relationships, business relationships, family, spiritual relationships, doesn't matter. You need to listen to people. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, I heard what that person said. It's like, let's say you were, again, we're going back to the scenario of the car salesman. It's like, yeah, well, I heard that the person comes up and they're like, the customer comes up and they're like, yeah, I'm looking for a car that's really reliable. Last time the last car I bought was just a piece of crap. Like every time the tire would go out and the tires would blow, and then not only that, before I knew it, the transmission was failing, and it was just a headache. I wasn't able to make it to work, and it was just so frustrating, you know. And let's say if you were not really listening to them, you were in maybe, let's say, selective listening. You were hearing car, reliable, frustrating, and you picked up a couple of these things, but you just didn't really fully engage with the person. You didn't realize that this person was really frustrated, and they wanted someone to hear their frustration and hear and be with them in that sense of, wow, I can so imagine how frustrating that must have been. Like, how did you get to work? Like, how did you make it to work every single time? I'm really curious about this. This would be me acting as a salesman. Why? Well, I need to tap into that experience, that emotional experience that they had, and feel it within myself in order to really move them and really change the way that they're seeing the world. So important to recognize, again, the level of listening that was necessary. It could be let's say another customer comes up and they're like, yeah, I'm kind of interested in a car, but I don't know, I'm not really looking to like buy something like this. That level, in this scenario, if you're really attentively listening, you could, or empathically listening, you're like, okay, well, this person's just not interested at all. And again, I'm not a car salesman. I'm not a salesman in any way, shape, or form right now. But what I will say is that it still shows the ideas that it's important to recognize that before you want to influence someone, you need to recognize that listening is important. I'll leave you guys on the idea, on the topic, or the last idea of today, being that it's be a proactive listener. In other words, speak on the topic that someone else is interested on in order to learn more about how they feel on that topic, how they think on that topic, And I mean, that's kind of really what it comes down to, is how do they feel about the topic and how do they think about the topic. And so with this, when you're more of a proactive listener, this would be more the empathic listener. The idea being that I encourage you all to actually just, depending on how much time you have, and you need to recognize, and again, come back to hierarchy of the self. You need to put yourself first, and then you take care of your respective concentric circles around you. The more wealth, power, etc. you have, the more you're able to take care of more people. But before I digress even further, be a proactive listener. Listen to the people around you more often and really engage with what they have to say with you. When they're telling you a story, maybe really, instead of you just being like, oh yeah, that's Sam again in the office. Like, come on, Sam, I don't need to hear about your dog licking the electric fence again. Stop telling me these stories. It's not that interesting, okay? Like, I've heard how your dog like just doesn't get it, and it's like, this is not something that it's not like a chew toy to lick. It's an electric fence, but he kind of likes the whole experience of it because it gives him a little shock, and he's like, oh yeah. Maybe you listen to that story and you're like, wow, I get the emotions of like why Sam thinks this is an interesting story. With that, I leave you guys, and remember, keep up, thrive, and stay sexy.